Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlotte. In today's video, we're going to be talking through the books that I would like to read in April. Now, there's a lot. I have a very ambitious TBR, but I'm going to take it more as like, these are my options that I should read from, rather than like, I have to read every single book, because it's physically not possible. But anyway, so there's a couple things that I'm prioritizing on my TBR for April. So one of them being arcs and publisher mail. I've got like some NetGalley arcs and some physical arcs, books that come out in April or have come out recently that I really want to read. And then also I am going to the event Babe in June, early June, which is, I think it stands for Books and Ball Gowns event. And it's basically like a big convention with a whole bunch of authors where you can like meet them, get your book signed, buy books, that kind of thing. So there are a few authors on my list that I haven't read yet that I really want to read before Babe, so that I can know if I want to like pre-order their books and like go get them signed, that kind of thing. So yeah, those are like my two main April TBR goals. We will see what actually happens, because I'm actually so bad at sticking to a TBR. If you have noticed, there's a different background today. These are my TBR bookshelves, which are so chaotic and overstuffed, and definitely nowhere near as like aesthetically pleasing as my regular bookshelves, because they're just overwhelmed. So this is why we really need to work on the TBR, even though I keep getting more books. Okay, the first category of books is new releases, and this is basically there for Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which is out, I think, April 23rd, and I cannot even express how excited I am about this book. It is literally my most anticipated book of the entire year. Her books always are. I love Emily Henry so much. She's my favorite author of all time. Book Lovers is my favorite romance book of all time. I love it so much, and I've literally rated every single book that she's released 5 stars. Fighting Story was my favorite book of last year. I love her so much, and I find that I am just always obsessed with her writing, even as it's sort of evolved and changed. And I've heard this one is kind of different. She said that herself. And it's kind of, I've heard that it's sort of a mix of like her typical like romances, but also mixed with like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo / The Last Great American Dynasty by Taylor Swift vibes. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Like I'm going to be counting down the days. I have been counting down months since it was announced. I'm so excited. And I already have multiple editions pre-ordered, including signed edition. So guys, like I just genuinely can't believe I have this in my hand. It doesn't come out for like 3 weeks, and it's got like the date on it. Other new release that I'm excited for, but it's lower on the TBR because I have actually already read it, is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I got the NetGalley arc for this, and I read it back in January, and I loved it so much. I have a full reading vlog on it on my channel, and I also talked about it in my like January wrap up. But it was so good, and it absolutely destroyed me, and it hit so close to home. And basically I took so many photos while I was reading of like the things I wanted to annotate when I had the physical copy. So I want to get the physical copy. I want to like reread it if I have time, or at least just go through and like add tabs to all the quotes that I like, and kind of like experience it again just through like going through and tabbing all of those. So yeah, that is also on there. If you haven't read it, get onto it, because it came out today when I'm filming this. So very, very excited for that one. Okay, now let's get into the category of Babe authors. And I want to preface this by saying a lot of these books I don't know a lot about. I don't really know the premises. I don't know the plots, the characters, anything. I mostly just know the genre, and like usually it's like an author that I've heard is good, and I'm like, okay, I'll read it for Babe. Let's see. So I feel like I can sort of speed around this. A lot of them also have really cute covers, which takes me in, and a lot are also on Kindle Unlimited. So I think I've got a bunch downloaded on there, and I'm planning on reading them on there. So yes, let's get into it. So the first book is Face Off, which is part of a series. I think it is a sports romance series. The covers are really cute. That is literally all that I know. Then have Strung Along, and this I think is a cowboy series or a small town series, something along those lines. I swear one of the covers has a horse on it or something. But I've heard really good things about that series as well. The covers are super cute. It's romance. I'm down. I'm ready. Next, we have Ace My Heart, and I think this one is sports romance. I think tennis, that would make sense with Ace, and based on the covers that I've seen. Again, the covers look really cute. I've heard good things. I'm really excited for that one. And then the last sort of contemporary romance that I have is Buck Cowboys by Elle Thorpe. So this is another one, part of a series. They're all like first books in series that I'd like to get into, but I really just want to read the first book and see if I like vibe with the author's writing or not before committing to a whole series. So yeah, this one is a cowboy romance series. There's some really cute covers with like sprayed edges of these that I love. And I do have some of the author's other books, like her other cowboy romance series. Oh, I have it here. This series with the very pretty edges. So I'm excited to see. Then have a monster romance book, and that is I think it's A Soul to Keep by Opal Reyne. And this is a book that I have seen everywhere for so long, and everyone seems to be obsessed with it. And I was always like, I'm never reading that. I'm not reading a monster romance. And then I read Ice Planet Barbarians, which was a alien romance. And you know what? It wasn't like the best book I've ever read, but it was a fun time. So I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. And everyone is always talking about how they're obsessed with the like main guy. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to read that one. I downloaded it and was going to read it like months ago, and then I got intimidated, so I ignored it, but I'm back and I'm ready to read it. Okay, and then next up for babe books, we have some fantasy books. So the first one is A Court This Cruel and Lovely, and this is one that I've seen like everywhere, but I honestly know nothing about it. But it's in like Big W and stuff, so it has been traditionally published. I know it's a pretty well loved series, so very excited for that one. Next one is Vows and Ruins, and this is actually the second book after Blood and Steel. I forget what the name of this series is called, but I loved Blood and Steel so much. It was so good, and I really want to finish the series. There's 4 books in it, because then I can read Iron and Embers, which came out recently, and apparently that's meant to be really good as well, and it's like a spin-off of the main series. So I really want to finish that series. I loved the first one, and I feel like I'm already going to need like a little recap for myself of what happened, but I'm very excited. I'm so excited to meet that author. And then the last fantasy babe book is The Last Dragon King. This is another one that I don't really know anything about, but I have seen it in like Big W and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. The reviews on Goodreads when I looked weren't amazing for the first book, but I'm curious. I'm willing to give it a chance. I want to know. I've seen it everywhere, so I'm just gonna try to read the first one and see what I think and go from there. But yeah, that was all the babe books that I want to read. That was kind of rapid fire, but I truly don't know what to say other than like I don't know much about them. They either have cute covers, or they were like highly recommended to me, or I've literally just seen them before and I'm like, okay, well, if I might meet the author, I'll read the book. So yeah, we'll see if I actually end up reading them. I booked Babe like a year ago, and I was like, I'm gonna read so many books by the authors before then, and I read like 2, and then one of the authors dropped out. So we'll see. Okay, and now we are moving on to arcs and publisher mail. So I have a couple NetGalley arcs that I'm really excited about. So the first one is called Work Trip. It's a romance book, rom-com, I think enemies to lovers. And this has been on my NetGalley for ages, and I need to read it because it actually comes out at the end of this month. But I'm excited for it. From what I understand, it's like 2 colleagues who don't get along going on a work trip. Enemies to lovers, rom-com. Yeah, that's about it. But it sounds really good. It sounds cute. So I'm curious to see how it is. And the next arc I'm so excited for, and that is The Raven Scholar. And this is one that I've seen some pretty good things about in like arc reviews leading up to it. So I've been really excited to read it. So when I saw it on NetGalley, I was like, okay, I'm requesting that. But it's really cute. I've heard people raving about it. I've heard people saying like it's going to be the next big fantasy romance. So I'm very excited. I think it's the start of a new series. Yes, I can't wait for that. So now I have physical books, some arcs, which is some publisher mail that I would really love to read soon because they either come out soon or they came out recently. So yeah, let's get into it. Some of these were in my like book haul that I filmed last week. So first up we have Last Shot, and this is by an Australian author, and it's a romance with like a mystery subplot, or maybe the mystery, maybe it's like, I think it might be like a 50-50 mystery romance book, which I think is really fun. Kind of reminds me of like the Eden's series, although that might be more romance with just a subplot of mystery. But yeah, this sounds really good. I love reading from Australian authors, especially new to me authors, and the cover is really, really cute. Yeah, I'm just really excited to read this. I haven't read many books that are like romance with a mystery, and I feel like that'll make it really fun. Next up, I have The Grump Whisperer, and this one sounds so cute. On the back it says for fans of Elsie Silver and Hannah Grace. So, okay. I think this is like a cowboy romance or like farm. I think this is a cowboy romance. I believe it is Grumpy Sunshine. It says on the back that it's small town and forced proximity. The cover is also very, very cute. And yeah, I think this one came out in March. I'm really excited for it. Next, we have Close Protection. This is a young adult romance book. It's a bodyguard romance, which sounds really good. It's also written by a booktucker. I have seen some mixed reviews about this, so I'm very curious what I'm going to think. Like, I really want to know my own thoughts because I went on Goodreads and the rating wasn't great. It hasn't been out that long, so I don't know. And literally like an hour ago, I was scrolling on Instagram and someone that I know posted a review because they got sent this and they did not like it at all. So we will see. I am willing to give it a chance. It sounds good. It sounds really cute. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we will see. I'm very, very curious to read and see what the writing is like, the story, all of that. So yeah. Next up, I have a fantasy book that I got the art for, which I was so excited about. So it comes out, I think, towards the end of April, and it is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. Specifically, a feminist Sleeping Beauty retelling. So that sounds great. I'm very excited. So this one says, except this is not the love story you may think you know. There is no enchanted sleep for the princess and no handsome prince to save the day. Just three women who together concoct a desperate plan of misdirection that changes the course of all their lives. So I'm very, very intrigued. I love a fairy tale retelling, and this one just looks really cute. Next up, I have Gifted and Talented by Olivie Blake, and this one I'm very intrigued about because the only other book I've read by her is The Atlas Six, and I didn't really like it, but I am going in with an open mind to see how it is. This one is apparently about like this rich family. The dad is like a CEO and he dies, and they're trying to figure out which of his children should inherit the company, but all the children are like gifted and talented magically. So that adds a level of complexity. I'm intrigued. I think it will be interesting. It is quite long. It's nearly 500 pages. I feel like there's a lot when I'm unsure about an author. So we will see. I'm interested to see what I think because I haven't picked up any Olivie Blake since The Atlas Six. Okay, next up I have Deep Cuts, and this one sounds so good. It says it's like Daisy Jones vibes, like a more like general fiction book. It's about like music and like making it in the industry and everything that goes along with it. I think there's a romance in it as well, and I think the cover's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for this. It's also not too long, so I think it'll be like a nice quick read. And yeah, I'm really keen for this because I really liked Daisy Jones like everybody else did. Okay, next up I have When She Was Gone, and this is a thriller slash mystery. On the back it says Rose was torn away from her daughter. Now is she the only one who can save her? Yeah, I don't like going into thrillers like knowing too much because I like to be taken on a ride. So I'm very excited for this. I haven't read a thriller slash mystery in like a while, so I feel like it'll be good like little palette cleanser between books. This one, I'm pretty sure this comes out like early April. Okay, and next I have Blood Moon Bride. This sounds so good. It is young adult fantasy. The premise sounds very interesting but sad. I think it's all about sort of like girls at a really young age basically being like sold off to like be brides to men who want them. And then I guess there must be magic somehow involved because it's fantasy. But yeah, very cute cover. It is young adult, but I really like young adult fantasy, so I'm excited for this. Speaking of young adult fantasy, I have Oathbound. I think this is actually going to be like literally my next read. Oh, I'm so excited. This came out towards the end of March. It's the third book in the Legendborn cycle. I read Legendborn and Bloodmarked like over 2 years ago. I absolutely love them. I've been waiting so long for this to come out. Such good YA fantasy. Like the fantasy plot is so good. The characters are so well developed. The writing is incredible. It is kind of a bit of a struggle to get into. Like I find the world a bit complex sometimes, even though it's like young adult. But I would definitely recommend, and I'm so excited to see what I think of this book. It is quite long as well. I think it's longer than the last two. So yeah, I'm so excited. Next I have Shoot Your Shot. I think this came out early March. It's a hockey romance. Isn't the cover so cute? I feel like this would be a very good like little romance palette cleanser between fantasy books, because I feel like I've been reading so many fantasy books lately, and sometimes you just need like a good romance in between to break it up. That's the sports romance. It sounds really cute. I'm excited. And then final books on the TBR. These are both publisher mail and they are for Babe, because the author is going to Babe, and I'm very excited. And that is Lady of Shadows and Lady of Ashes. So these are books 2 and 3 in the Lady of Darkness series, which I read the first book last year and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so good, and I've been dying to continue, but I'm useless at continuing series. So now I have books 2 and 3. They've recently been getting like traditionally published, I think like every few months, like the next one the series comes out, but the series is complete. And yeah, I'm really excited. The author is going to be at Babe, so I can meet her. And this series is about like an assassin who's the main character, and there's magic and there's romance and there's a found family. And I'm probably gonna have to refresh my memory on what happened in book 1 before I start reading these. But yeah, very excited. Okay, so that is all the books I would love to read in April. I've got my physical TBR up here, and then obviously I've got all the other books written down so that I will remember to read them as well. I know it's ambitious, and frankly, I'm not gonna finish it, but it's good to have high goals, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll just mean I pick up all those books from this list, because they're like my more priority books, rather than buying a random book and reading that instead, because that is what I tend to do all the time, and then I never end up actually reading the books on my TBR. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I do love watching like TBR videos that are like fun and like a creative way to like pick your TBR. But this month I was just like, there's too many books I actually need to read like for Babe and like arcs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna set aside a month to actually read the books that I need to. But hopefully it's all interesting hearing about which ones I'm gonna read, and I'll check back in at the end of the month to see if I actually read them, and if I did, what my thoughts were. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I'm looking for a